Well, hello, everybody. This is Don from the Vlog of Many Things, and with me tonight is, to my right,
Steve.
down below me,
Ken Carr.
and
hi,
Mr.
Shadow.
Volk is somewhere. He'll be with us here in a moment.
I
Well,
hid him in my pocket.
he's got him in his.
He'll be
Oh, I
here.
got so many ways I can go with this.
Be very good. Be very good.
That's right. Scott, Fugly, Zatron, Death Angel Shadow, how y'all doing? Tonight, we're going to be discussing a lot of stuff. We're probably going to go way off the rails due to current events that are happening all over the place. But tonight, we're going to try to get into a little bit about the difference between OSR gaming and modern gaming, if there are any. We're going to talk a little bit about publishing in general, game publishing, facts about it, shit you see online that people say they're a publisher, but really they're not because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And we may even get into, yes, a little bit of politics because of current things happening in the vlogosphere of gaming that does affect gaming, I think, in a way, because there's like all kinds of weird shit, unfriending happening and friends happening and people getting in arguments over stuff and just, typical gaming stuff in the community.
Yep,
So,
cats and dogs living together, stuff like that.
Woof, woof, meow, meow. So, by the way, little special message for everybody tonight. We have a birthday boy in our midst. Scott Mulder has turned 19 today, so happy birthday, Scott. I was gonna put a little like golden thong on and nipple tassels and sing happy birthday to him, but I figured it'd gross Eric and Steve out so bad.
Mr. President
Day.
Happy birthday to you. Well, should I? Maybe not.
Steve, break out the nipple tassels for Scott. No. See, we can't even give shit to people in this channel. That. Let's go down the list. Scott, good evening. How are you? Zatron says, heavy planning, translation, making sure they have sufficient quantities of adult beverages in a bucket under 10 car's desk. I got a little bit of adult quantity.
Yes. Shush.
Food says they're probably in the potty. Death Angels, hi y'all, whatever. Zatron says, don't tell me there's people in the blog space celebrating thing. Yes, they are celebrating it. We'll get into that probably a little bit. Bunser, haven't seen you in our chat before, so welcome to the show. He says, leftists at WotC corrupting D&D. Could be some righties, you never know. Fugly says, I'm publishing a game right now, coloring on my couch. Oh, the definition of publishing is strained. Yes, it is.
You know how you tell the difference between a leftist and a rightist in gaming?
What's that?
Depends on which side of the road they're driving on.
Wah, wah. I gotta get one of those videos tonight. One of those little sound things.
That's a dad joke, man. That's a.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm old enough to qualify for that. So,
Death Angel says 19. LOL. We're giving him a break. He's really turning 21, but we're trying to give him a break by a couple of years. Happy birthday. Wouldn't want to be 19 again. Maybe 25. Scott says, happy birthday for the birthday wishes, everyone. You are very welcome. Hold on a minute. There we go. He's not taking any chances tonight because he's got the F-bomb plugs in his ears.
Yes.
And we might have a surprise guest tonight. I'll be finding out here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. I can't say who it is. But he does not wear nipple tassels. He will not be on a show with a golden thong on.
Oh, so it's not Mike's brother. Okay.
Does he deserve to be in prison?
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison, Timmy? Have you ever sat on a Pope's lap on a Friday?
Only in the Greek prisons. No. All right.
Oh, boy. So, Eric, you did a couple of videos. You're doing a kind of a series that interests me
Yeah, I'm
on,
doing a
on
series
YouTube.
on the OSR, the beginnings of the OSR, how it came out, and I'm going. The next one may be Targa, the traditional adventure role playing game association or some crap like that. They wanted to herd cats. Okay, let's just say that. They wanted to herd cats.
They're called Targa.
They were called Targa. It was an attempt to bring the OSR under one organization.
Oh God, this isn't something Lanasa created, is it?
No. Actually, it was well intended. It was well intended, but if you are even peripherally attached to the OSR, you know the OSR has many tenets and many standards.
That's right.
Many standard bearers.
Yes.
And it take your Venn diagram,
Eric,
overlapping.
I'm 58 years old. I get the difference between standards and standards.
All right. Well, some of the listeners might
True.
not.
Never mind.
But your Venn diagram is like little overlapping crap. It's all overlapping. Okay, and there's little bits and pieces all over the place with the OSR. So if you want to put them under one overriding leadership, no.
Gotcha. Well, I actually seen, I don't know if it's just my YouTube feed because of what you're pulling up, but I've been seeing a lot of creators talking about the OSR versus the non-OSR.
Okay.
And something that, and to everybody's note watching the show, us four have not talked about this. This is actually right fresh off the thought process. Me, Eric, and Tom, especially because we're on Facebook. Steve's too good for Facebook because he's been banned by Zuckerberg himself.
Yeah, they hate me.
God bless you, my son.
Yes.
God bless you.
So Steve's the only guy I know in the world that literally cannot have a Facebook page. Like they got his IP and MAC address even flagged. I mean,
oh yeah, they absolutely do not want me over there under any
Steve, you're frozen up too, by the way. This is your permanent pic. There you go.
There we go.
That's normal for this.
Yeah. So basically, the thought that I had is, and it's going to be very controversial because I know that probably Eric and Tom will disagree with me on this.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not think there's very much difference between the OSR and modern gaming. And hear me out. Eric even just did the blink. He did the sign with his eyes.
That's like, what? Heretic.
Well, because to me, if you actually think about it in relation to Dungeons and Dragons,
right?
Okay, the OSR and modern gaming, although we do have fundamental disagreements, such as player characters can die, and in modern gaming, I guess you can't die. It's like hurts your feelings, and you need your safe bubble.
Okay,
but really, when you think about the core of it, OSR gaming and modern gaming have one thing in common, and that is bringing people to the table to game.
Okay. See. Now, if you're telling me that modern gaming is bad, wrong, fun, I'll tell you I don't like that phrase. And whatever floats your boat. If you like D&D 5e, that's great. But I went back to the beginning. OSR was initially old school revival before it morphed into old school renaissance. And that's pretty much the accepted, what meaning for the abbreviation now. And at its core, it was to emulate the original D&D systems, essentially from 1E and earlier. And because the books were expensive back then on eBay to get the original ones used. And
they're still expensive on eBay. Just to let you know real quick, I saw a DM's guide. Not the original first edition with the red inner sheet.
We're
talking about newer AD&D.
Right.
I saw the high bid on that sucker ended up selling for like $125.
Wow.
And that's like stupid crazy money for a DMG. I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, and that's true. So that's the reason why partially these clones came into being. Was to take the third edition SRD and reinvent the wheel, so to speak. So, I mean that's the core of it, and it was and it was specifically for the original D&D rules. I know people want to go, Zweihander's OSR. We're getting feedback.
Knucklebones has an interesting comment. Knucklebones says we need a reprint of those. They would print money. Really?
They
So
did.
basically, what needs to happen is WotC needs to go ahead and allow somebody to reprint the first 3 books. That's interesting.
Go figure. Actually, by the way, in between editions, in between 4E and 5E, they did so. I still have my reprint editions because why not? And I gave away a set because I had one. Well, Rachel won a set at North Texas, and we gave that away to in a gaming group.
What I think WotC needs to do is WotC needs to sub-license the first 3 books. Imagine that to somebody, and allow them to maybe redo the rules a little bit. I think that would be really, really cool.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. Somebody needs to clip that by the way.
I just want to squeeze a comment in on Don's comment. He said we would disagree with him. Just as an observation, Don, you sounded like an ecumenical minister preaching, let's all get all the churches together, just everybody be nice. That's what you sounded like to me.
Did I? No.
As an anti-ecumenical person.
Yeah, I got that, Tom.
I have a question though. You said you're seeing comments on Facebook about OSR versus non-OSR.
No. I've been seeing more and more videos on YouTube, and I think it's just the algorithm because I've been watching Eric's videos talking about the differences between the two.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. What are they calling the non-OSR? Because
believe it or not, of all the videos I've seen, nobody has really been attacking the non-OSR, and they haven't been attacking the OSR either. It's been kind of surprisingly, refreshingly neutral. Huh? But, I'm using the term modern players because, they're all D&D. It's just what flavor of D&D do you like?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I just wanted to say that the OSR has a cooler name than the non-OSR.
Okay, what would be a good name for non-OSR then?
Well, I don't know. We already got the OG of gaming.
How about the 5e Mafia?
Oh, what do we call old school games that aren't OSR? Like, what do we call Call of Cthulhu's recent releases, or RuneQuest, right? Or Tunnels and Trolls. If the OSR is D&D clones, are the others like NSR, like non-standard Renaissance? Or
well, Jonathan says another reason for retro clones was people could legally publish modules and supplements for old school games. That was the main justification for OSRIC.
For OSRIC. And what surprised Stuart Marshall and Matt Finch was that people like me, who are AD&D 1E fans, grabbed OSRIC and used it at the table because it was easier to reference than going between the original books. So, yes that was the original reason.
And Zatron says,
like OSR.
Yeah.
By the way,
Zatron says, I really think overly stringent faithfulness to the original rules is a hindrance in the OSR. For instance, the lack of real skill system makes creating a good superhero game a challenge. Okay, however, I think that's more, and of course, like anything in gaming, it depends on your point of view. Like, I'll give you an example, Tim Kask. Mm-hmm. Tim Kask is not a fan of skill-based systems. And Tim Kask is about as OG as you're going to get when it comes to the OSR. Mm-hmm. But the point being is, I personally love skill-based systems. I just think skill-based systems are such a cool thing, and I know a lot of people don't like them. So I think as far as hindrance, it just depends what you're used to, what you're into, or whatnot. And Steve, you have been frozen up, looking like you ate a cold ice cream cone. Okay, now he's unfrozen.
Well, and listen, here's the thing, okay? You can hack whatever you
know what the feed is.
You can hack whatever you want, and if you want to do something that is skill-based, you're probably better off going with something like Basic Fantasy Role Play or some other system that's open.
Well, the thing is, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with skill-based like RPGs and stuff because the one that we made, or one that was my classmates and I made, ours was very heavily skill-based. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Well,
and I love that.
Yeah, well, Buster, real quick, says you can get a reprint of DM's Guide for 30. Yeah, that's my whole point, Buster. It was the weird things you see on eBay. Because it's like, I'll give you an example. Ed Lazor has a place called RPG Marketplace. And I'll see things that people put on sale in the RPG Marketplace. And I'll see them and I'll be like, that's a little weirdly priced. And people are bidding on it. Then I'll go to eBay and see it for like $20 less. And I'm like, I ain't saying a word.
All right.
I ain't gonna, I'm all for capitalism, but the
Yeah.
thing
Well,
is,
and here's the thing. Right? I'm gonna mention something here about too. Listen, Noble Knight and Noble Knight's done a lot of good stuff for the community. So
yes, yeah,
don't take this as a slight to Noble Knight, but know your prices. Because when they buy collections that include print on demand. And guess what? They're going to price it like it's collectible.
Mm-hmm.
And I dared years ago point it out in my blog, and the feedback I got was very mixed. Because some people are like, why are you attacking Noble Knight? I'm like, well, I shouldn't be paying twice the price for something that I can get new
and
from drive-thru.
and you have a duty as an online game vlogger and blogger to point out bullshit when you see it. It would be like if I was trying to sell a DMG guide and it was an obviously counterfeited signature in it. And I said, this is Gary Gygax's signature. And if you come to me privately and say, Don, that's not Gygax's signature. Come on, man. I mean, Gygax, that's
Right.
clearly not. And I went, tough shit. I'm going to do it anyways. You would have more of a duty to report that and go, listen, I even tried pointing it out to the guy and he's doubling down on it. Hamlet Bound says the non-OSR should be called the no-SR.
No SR. Amen.
That's actually
You know
pretty
what
good.
are. You know what you are, and it's nothing.
No SR.
Well, the thing is it fundamentally the OSR and modern gaming are very different. Let's just be honest there. I mean, I'm talking about even in the idea of like with me, fundamental gameplay. Death is part of the game. I mean, shit happens. I don't know how many characters that I've really liked and come to love get off because of my stupidity or a bad dice roll. And it's just a matter of trying to, navigate that. But modern gaming is more meta power gaming. People do right off the bat hardcore heavy characters.
Yeah.
There ain't no first level magic users in 5e. I'll tell you that. Not the way they used to be.
No, and listen, I can truthfully say I have played in a 5e game. I had a good time. I was in it with Tom. I played Snoopy as I don't know, 7th level monk. I had 8 pages on my character sheet. I glanced at it and I went with what was on the front and kind of guessed beyond that because that was really But now I've also run Swords and Wizardry Light for groups that were
Yes.
5e. And the mindset is a different mindset. And they were good. They once they stuck at the table, I give them the option to leave because it wasn't what they were expecting. But I knew the adventure just did no 5e, and right away I rolled to intimidate. No. Tell me how you're intimidating.
Yeah.
I detect lie. If you think he's lying, because this is what they're used to.
Yep.
Okay. The difference is player skill versus character skills.
Well,
Okay, I think that's the big crossover.
yeah. Well, St. Cuthbert, welcome back to the show. It's been a while, my friend. He says, Don, you're correct. The original DMG, PHB, and Monster Manual without writing and in very good shape are pushing $100. They are become rare as time goes by. And St. Cuthbert's right because the fact that especially unmarked stuff. Michael Stengel,
Pictures colored in.
yeah. It says, have you seen the videos about the so-called 6 cultures of play based on the April 21 blog post by Retired Adventurer? No, I have not. Anybody familiar with that, guys? I have not. Fukui says the difference I see between old and new is the difference between role playing and role playing, and that's kind of a good point. Tim talks a lot about for anybody who has the pleasure of really sitting down and talking to him about core gaming, he really gets into theater of the mind and how that's a lost part of gaming now. The actual playing of the character, role playing.
I think a lot of that is just people are so used to regular PC and console gaming that they've lost that concept of theater of the mind, that because they expect everything to be laid out in front of them and they just do the
Good
thing.
point. Death Angel Shadow says, technically, can you order the first 3 books from drive-through as PO? Death Angel Shadow, you can 100%. But to me, I actually have the first 3 copies. And the reason why is those are my playbooks, the ones I break out at the table. Those are POD from drive-through RPG. But to me, there's a collectability and nostalgia aspect of having the Orange Spine. It's just
I have before the Orange Spine. My books are before the Orange Spine. Orange Spine, that's for latecomers.
Yeah,
I have the books that just wear off.
Right there, exactly.
Yeah.
Mario Evil DM says, I think the younglings love the new modern 2024 6E. They do not like to have to win. They just love pure gonzo fantasy, not based in verisimilitude. And for me, it's not just for me. Well, it's all part of what's that, Tom?
Well, I was just going to say that this modern thing of for 5e where you have these builds, these optimized builds, that's really about winning. That's not about
it's power gaming. It's power gaming.
You gotta make this choice and this choice and this choice to optimize this character for the most maximum, ability with the bow or whatever it is you're trying to go for. And to me, that's just power gaming. And I don't mind a flawed character. I don't mind. I think back to those times where we were like, we're gonna roll 3d6, write them down in order. What you get's what you get, and you make the best character you can from that. And we still had fun. And they were not optimized characters because I couldn't move, that 16 from intelligence to strength because I really wanted to do a fighter,
Well, and Thias makes a really good point here. Thias says the issue with skill-based that I've seen is that people end up relying more on the character sheet for what they can do rather than their agency. And that's true. But again, that's where the DM comes into play by and I use the word enforcing maybe in the wrong way, but enforcing players to role play, to go ahead and to do that theater of the mind. But also, as the DM, it is your job to give those characters, those players at the table, the willingness and desire and the tools they need to role play. I can go, Eric, Tom, Steve, you have 20 feet and there's a door. Or I can go, Eric and Tom and Steve, you see it. There's a 20-foot hallway lit by torches. There's a puddle of water in the middle of the floor. You hear eerie dripping. I mean, there's different ways that you can do it that gets the players more into it. So I think a lot of it also is the DM.
Also, back in the day, Merc came out very heavily skill-based system. You're putting all your ranks into different skills.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, this is so cool. We really kind of wanted to go that way. And then GURPS came out, another skill-based system, and we were like, oh, this is cool. But even in those systems, you still had that older style of play where, the game master's just making a ruling, and you just have to make rulings on things.
Well, that's rulings versus rules. Yeah.
Even though it was skill-based, it wasn't necessarily that much of a departure, I think, from AD&D, personally.
Well, real quick, Buster says something interesting. Buster says, if an eBay seller sells something as original and it's a reprint, you hammer them on the reviews and go for it. Yes, of course. And that's something I see a lot, especially with modules. You'll see eBay sellers selling modules from drive-thru, and they use very creative wording. And you got to be really careful of the wording, because they'll say, this is really based on the original module, and they're going through this big, long description, but they just kind of like throw a little peck in there. So I agree 100%.
buyer beware and examine the pictures very carefully.
Oh, very
Sometimes
carefully.
just looking at it, you can go.
Do not
That
be
might be a
afraid to
reprint.
ask for more photos. Also,
Yeah,
Yeah, and if they
I
balk you,
backed out of bidding on Star Frontier stuff just because I'm like, that's a reprint.
yep.
And I
Yeah.
already have a collection of reprints for playing with.
Well, Scott Mulder says it could be called OSR adjacent or OSR challenged.
Oh,
St. Cuthbert says OSR focuses on classic game mechanics, player creativity, high stakes exploration, and emergent narratives rather than pre planned plots or balance. Exactly. And also OSR, and this is something I think that this is the real big difference between OSR and modern play is OSR gaming really has a different type of DM. A DM that is more creative and can think on their feet. That, you know, yes, I want Tom, Eric, and Steve to go down the hallway and I want them to take the door on the right, not the left. But what happens if they're not paying attention to the door on the right at all and all they want is the door on the left? How do I make them choose what I want them to do? And it's that creative steering that differentiates, I think, a lot of times types of DMs.
Well, Eric made a great point in a video recently where he talked about first, the balance being a myth.
Exactly. And I think that is Tom gone or is that just for me?
no, he's gone.
oh, he's gone. For a second there, I thought the stream dropped because everything went silent.
Yeah, no, I was like,
Yeah, it really went weird for a minute. Death Angel Shadow, real quick. He says, if you want to run a superhero game, I'll get one of my mini superhero RPGs here. Exactly. We'll try this again.
and,
Yeah.
and
Mr. Veralt, you're back. Welcome.
There's an OSR Supers games, the same company that has the pirate game, and they got little different genre games, all based on swords and wizardry. I forget the name of the company offhand. I'll look it up in the meantime, but it's there. Trust me.
Yeah. But that's the thing about OSR versus modern, and I think let me ask you a question: is this really maybe just a subject that's beat too much into the ground? Maybe we worry too much about OSR versus instead of saying, listen, D&D is all about just having fun. Listen, guys, play the game, have fun, enjoy yourself, and let's all play what you want.
Yeah. Play what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And Mario Evil DM says, "Power gamer never wins; they can't lose." Well, the thing is, that's the whole thing. The power gamer. I don't see what the thrill of it is because I'll be honest with you. I've said this before. I don't know if it was only private, but my optimal gaming levels are between levels 4 and 7 or 4 and 8. That's my optimal play level. But once I get a player that's right around level 9, my PC, frankly, I don't give a shit. Kill the damn thing off. Let me start over because anything after 9th level to me is boring because I'm so powerful, especially like magic users and such.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah, I like
those wish spells.
Yeah, I like OP characters, but I also like the ones that are underpowered because I had on one game we were playing, I had my character. He was fighting an NPC that was like a couple levels higher than him, so he was outmatched. And this went back and forth, and basically, I was on my character was on the defense this whole fight. And then, like one of the things I could do to protect him from this NPC was to throw up this really heavy shield. The problem was, if he went behind you, you had to drop the shield, turn, and raise it again, which meant as long as he was faster than you, you couldn't keep properly defended against him. So my creative solution is my character could cast like this it's not, what is it called? It's not a pentagram, but it's kind of like this little magic circle looking thing.
Pentacle?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Pentacle.
What he did was he cast these just under the ground, like about 3 or 4 inches, and surrounded himself with them. And that darn NPC got behind my character. He's like, "Ha ha! I got you!" Comes in, stepped on one, and just boom. And it was like, yeah, he's gonna feel that in the morning. And it's just little creativity like that makes those characters so much fun. Because I mean, yeah, you can go OP and just level everything in front of you, but the The ones that are weaker that you have to get creative just in order for them to survive, those are the ones I really have fun with.
Well, and then that's just with me. I mean, I just like the idea, and this is something that I really enjoy about older school D&D is my actions are definitely a fuck around and find out type situation. I mean,
Yep.
you play the game, and if I'm a bad player, and again, this is where the GM. So it's like I'll give you an example. Me, Tom, and Eric, and the ladies are playing, and Tom fell into a pit, and Tom had a potion. Now, Tom's potion was the one potion that was poison, but it was early in the game, and as a DM, I changed it up and I instead made it a levitation potion to help him out of the pit. Now, I could have been hardcore and said, Tom, you drank poison, 3d6 damage. Tom was already low on hit points. I knew he would die. But as a DM, to keep the game going and keep the game fun, tap, 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 Eric. Tap, 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 Eric. I made decisions as a DM, and that is something that I love about D&D, the older school styles of D&D, is because you can do that. But if you're gonna metagame and you're gonna power game me, then I'll stick exactly to the core rules, and you get what you get. It can go both ways.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of
Glenn,
advice,
How
a
you
lot of
doing?
advice out there from people like Professor Dungeon Master.
Yes, very good, very good
He
vlogger.
talks about like if you're running a mystery and there's a clue,
Yep.
you don't make the players roll to see if they find the clue. You just give them the clue because if you have one bad dice roll, then
You're screwed because it just screws.
We're losing again.
Keep the button close.
yeah. Well,
Um,
let me check my internet speed.
Death Angel Shadow says power gamers don't understand that you win by having fun. Exactly, bingo, right there. You can't beat D&D. No, you don't. Knucklebone says, okay, but how do you kill dragons unless you're high level? Well, that's just the whole point. You have to know when to fight and when to get the hell away from something.
Mhm.
Yep. It's called, we talk about player agency. We talk about, common sense decisions. Just because it's there doesn't mean that you should be able to kill it. Sometimes you just have to say, I'm a little out of my league here, and maybe I ought to just get the hell out of Dodge while I can get out of Dodge. Diana says, Don, subgenres matter, though. Each subgenre comes with its own expectations. OSR and FIA have very different expectations. I don't think it's beaten to death as a subject. It's a defining feature. And that's very possible. I'm just talking about the people who try to draw that line down the middle and go, it is a piece of shit. 5e sucks and it's ruining D&D, and anyone who plays it isn't real D&D players. That kind of stuff to me is like, come on, man. No. But
well, the future of the hobby is the middle schoolers in the middle school who are playing D&D now. That's the future of the hobby. They're playing 5e.
That's a huge part of the hobby because they're the ones who are the future gamers that play the.
As Tom blinks in and blinks out like a blink dog, in our private chat, I put a link in for Guardians, which is an OSR Swords and Wizardry rules based superhero game.
Okay.
So,
do you want to share that with?
I can't share. I can't.
Okay, I'm going to share the
link
link here. Do you want me to share it, Eric? Okay.
Yeah.
That link is now shared. Hold on one second. This is a really busy chat tonight, guys. But Glenn, by the way, Glenn's made a comment. He says his favorite level range is 1 to 12. You see, I think 12 is just, man, that's just like way.
For me, it's 1 to 7, maybe 8, and then once you hit 5th level spells, for me as a player and as a DM, the rails start going off. And as a DM, it's harder to prepare because up to 4th level spells, you got a kind of an idea. 5th level spells, once you start raising the undead, right?
Exactly, and you're just, I mean, come on, you can become too powerful. I mean, how many bloody times do you have to sit there and, I mean, a 10th level magic user That's one bad mofo. I mean, that is a bad mofo. Yeah, his internet is doing its thing again, and we got to get this figured out. Thomas, we need to figure out what's going on with you.
I just checked my internet speed. It's good. I don't get it. I got all my tabs closed and no programs running in the background.
Are you still? Do you have Pornhub still going on in the background?
It's probably Restream because Restream kept freezing on me.
Tom, is your OnlyFans page getting a lot of views right now? Come on now.
I don't have that.
Bummer.
Oh,
You win by killing the dragon. Well, you also can die killing the dragon.
When I bounce back out, I'll join you in the live chat.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens. If not, I'm just going to say something real quick. Tom, if you keep bumping out, tomorrow, if you're free, let's choose a time and let's do some digging. Steve, can you help tomorrow if he gets bumped out again, maybe a little bit for about a half hour, 20 minutes or whatever?
Yeah.
And maybe try to figure out. We'll get it figured out.
Earlier in the day, maybe.
Something's not going right about you because you should not be being bumped out like this. Buster says, I played one character for nearly 16 years and moved. Damn, no shit. 16 years, one character? I'm impressed.
Oh, we used to with our RPG gaming, we used to have books with all of our details in it, and I had one that was like this. So,
wow.
And I did. Mine was thinner, but we had one guy that had one that was like this with just characters and stuff.
Okay, publisher hat on real quick. How many people here would be interested in because it's done, is to have a product where you basically have a campaign tracker for your character, where you open it up, you do your character's initial stats, and it tracks everything about your character in one book. Would that be something people are interested in?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did with ours.
Tom or Steven, Tom and Eric don't seem to be.
Listen, I use scrap pieces of paper for my. Nothing lives long enough in the OSR for me to care.
I have an eraser.
I shouldn't say that.
Tom's like, click on eraser. Yep, that's what the hell. Why not?
Yeah.
Glenn Hallstrom says, also, don't forget freebooters. OSR pirates are a thing.
All right, I'm going to man spread now. Hold on a second. I'm going to man spread. I got the whole bottom. I'm going to hold the two of you
So
guys.
Eric, are you a true bottom tonight?
I am the bottom. I will hold the two of you up with my super arms.
Hold on one second. Let's do this.
I'm a superhero.
There. Let me do this real quick. And real quick, I'm getting messages from that guy that I booted off my friends list, Eric.
Oh, yes. Really? I booted a number of people.
And we're gonna go ahead and get into a different subject here in 1 second. Let me just real quickly click on the things. But real quick, holy cow, this has been a busy chat. I just want to give everybody,
give me a chance.
Injun Joe, nice to see you tonight, my friend. And then Tabletop Taproom says, friggin' Sadar computer hackers attacking me. Sadars. Okay. And what we're going to do is Eric is top bottom guy. All right. I got a little thing for people that are in chat. I will be first to admit that, as a publisher, I have my failings. And one of my biggest failings have been, and I think that as a publisher, you should admit it when you're wrong on stuff. And one of my biggest failings have been is before I got the help that I did, is I took too many projects on. I hated saying no to people. Steve knows me for this. Steve knows that I don't like telling people to help people if I can. But as people who play D&D and play games and such like this and do this actively, and Eric, you've dealt with me as a publisher, client relationship.
Yeah.
Steve is also. What do you guys think is, barring timelines, what is the biggest problem that you would have with a publisher? Like, if you could fix one thing with publishers, what would they be? In this chat, please speak up also. I'd love to hear from everybody.
All right, should I go with the biggest complaint that I've heard from people in general? Because I know a lot of freelancers, folks. Surprise, surprise. And I hear about the companies that pay on time, the companies that drag their feet, and the companies that you have to remind multiple times that you owe me to pay me for work I've done. And I will say, like Frog God is on the list of having always paid
Mhm.
people on time. I'm not going to name companies
Yeah,
that
real quick, Eric,
are on
before you
the
say
bad.
anything, there's one thing I'm not looking to do here, people. If you have a a bone to pick with a specific publisher, please do not mention their name in chat. I'm not interested in outing anybody,
Right.
but you can still talk obliquely, like say, I know a publisher who did this.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not naming names.
but
It's not my place
but
to
it's
name.
also you are free to do like Eric just did. If you have a publisher that did something good, by all means talk about them.
Yes. Yes. And like I said, I've only heard good things about Frog God when it comes to paying its freelancers. So I mean, take that for
Well,
what
I
it's
will tell
worth.
you as a publisher, it is vitally important that you pay your freelancers, that you pay your layout people, you pay your editors, you pay those people on time, because not only there's one thing you don't want to have happen. You don't want to one day wake up, get your hot cup of coffee and be in a really good mood and open up Twitter and see something like Satine and Jameson opened up to that day. Not good at all. Um,
By the way, do you see Jameson flexing on Facebook and you're like,
oh, God, is he back?
it,
Is he doing his big thing?
he's out there. He's in the locker room, shirtless, greased
Imagine
up.
that.
I mean, God bless
Tabletop
him.
Tech from Top says right now, are they shipping on time? This is a big one, and this is something that I'd like to address because the thing with shipping is, and this is something that people have to understand, is that a lot of times what will happen is a publisher will say, we're going to begin shipping on January 5th. This is a pre-order. We're shipping on January 5th. And what happens a lot of times is people you run into situations like your January 5th deadline date is based on a lot of other people doing what they're supposed to do. And all it takes is one individual not to do like they're supposed to do, and it can have a cascading effect. Eric, we send that with Two Moon, you
Mhm.
know? And
Mhm.
one of the big things also is, and I just ran this with Gangbusters, was you do everything proper. U.S. Postal Service comes, they pick up a lot of orders, and for some reason, 8 to 10 books don't get scanned in, and they go poof into the Ethera. And as the customer goes, "Well, I don't give a shit. I want my game." But as the publisher, you have to do your due diligence, and due diligence is, I have to give this time because were they taken? Am I going to open up a claim to the Postal Service? You know, am I waiting on something? You know, do I got to wait to see if they come out? So shipping is a really really weird one that so many things can affect it. Um, Publisher or Buster says I'd say publishers that just abandon games or that seem for months with no info. Um, updating on games is important. That's exactly true. Um, nope, just slightly more than 20. I don't know what that's for. Um, do your computer need? Oh, never mind. You're talking about Evil DM's talking about Tom about his game about his connection. Zatron says my biggest problem with publishers is as a customer is an inability to keep their mouth shut about politics.
Yeah.
This is the 100 XP bonus comment of the night. I have a rule: keep my politics off my page. My clients, if you're going to knock Donald Trump, remember 50% of your customers vote for him. If you're going to knock Biden, 50% of your customers vote for him. Keep the bloody politics off your page. Come on now. I mean, bad stuff happens when you do that.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, it's
It
tempting.
is.
I'm gonna say it's tempting, and then people are gonna go, "But my free speech, you got the speech, you have all the free speech you want, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get repercussions for it." And if you want to be viable in this industry,
Mhm.
you got to appeal to the largest swath of your potential customer
Yeah.
base. And you don't want to go around pissing off half or more than half. I mean, and I know it's tempting. Believe me, there have been times when I've been like, I'm going to burn the tavern down, and then wiser minds, either my own or Rachel, go, why don't you sleep on it before and you wake up and you go, all right, you know what, that would have been really stupid, but it seems good at the time because you're emotional.
Yeah.
Don't be emotional. Let that meditation Zen moment take you away, because really, if you want to be viable, if this isn't more than just you putting out a few words and giving it away for free. If you want to be viable, you want to make a car payment for this work.
Mhm. Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah. Politics are volatile no matter who you are, no matter what you do. Politics is probably the single most volatile subject that you can go ahead and touch. And it is something, if people go to any of my business pages, they'll notice something. I stay away from them. You see no politics on Wizard Tower Games, Wizard Tower Publishing. Zero. Bad mojo, bad stuff happens then. Tabletop Tapper says, did a reboot computer. Okay. Buster Tian says, don't need politics like Jordan said. Republicans buy shoes too. Yes, everybody buys them.
Yeah.
Tabletop Tapper says, in the 90s, politics and religion were the most interesting things to discuss, but not these days. I think the problem with it is just the internet has made it so much easier to spread misinformation. It's much more easier to get your opinion out there. You know, anybody can start a vlog.
Yeah. And here's the secret of social media, in my opinion. People think, for some stupid reason, that others want to hear and know what their opinion is on the color of their morning bowel movement, because, well, they're following me on Facebook, they're following me on Twitter, they watch my, nobody cares. All right? If they're following you on Facebook and you're a creator, they're following you on Facebook because you're a creator. They're not following you for your political or religious insight. Keep that shit to yourself. You're not the center of the universe.
My wife mentioned something that's a pet peeve of mine, and she says a publisher they publish, get your books all over the world and not have an ISBN to do so. Many claims they can do it, but really they can't. I actually just had an author here in Battle Creek named Christine. She's publishing 5 children's books with me, and she ran the same thing. Publisher who gives her a 9,000 ISBN from Amazon. You can't use those anywhere else. And publishers, if you're going to, say I'm going to publish you worldwide or get you the distributor, you got to have a valid ISBN.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn makes a good point. Free speech equals free consequences. Yeah.
Consequences for everybody.
Yep. Absolutely. Eldred Wolfsbane says, well, I'm not going to stop saying orc lives don't matter. Knife here. Yeah, exactly. The K5K says, as a business, you could try and make enough off one end of the political spectrum, or you could just make one apolitical product and sell it to everyone money. That's the thing. I don't care if you come up to my booth. I don't care what your T-shirt says. I don't care what color hat you wear. Do you got the money to buy my product? I'm happy to sell to you. When people want to make political stances, they usually follow up with bankruptcy. Imagine that. No drunk booking. Yeah, stay off the alcohol when you go on Facebook.
Oh God.
Engine Joe says, don't come into your buddy's house and crap on his floor, just like when you trauma dump your politics fence on the affiliated. And there's another thing you have to understand. If you are with a publisher and you are spouting off really horrible political crap, you're putting your publisher in a very uncomfortable position because they're representing you. And don't be surprised if you do that and you don't get an email or a message from your publisher going, listen, I respect your political beliefs and you have a right to them, but if you're going to use your author page to spout this crap, my name's attached to you now. Either you stop it or I might have to drop you as an author. Actually had to do that today. I didn't have to drop them, but I had to put that talk out. Um, Absolutely, it costs you a lot of money over time. Mario says tabletop data could be the okay. Never mind, that's his internet stuff. Um, Tabletop Dapper says had to block a fellow Star Frontiers fan and collaborator who came on my personal page and joined into a political discussion with my godfather, and it was ugly to block him after that. It's an uncomfortable thing to do, you know. And real friends will make a private message to their friend and go, "Hey, buddy, Don, you need to take that comment down. That was uncalled for." Real friends will call you on your bullshit. They're not your enemy when they do that.
No.
They're a real friend when they call you on your bullshit.
Because honestly, when you put up stuff that is, you're doing it because you're emotional at the time.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing it because it pushed a button. I've had my button pushed, and I've been at that keyboard. But I've learned over the years, because I've been doing this long enough, that if I think I'm making a really smart comment to get back at somebody, then I better step back and leave it for a bit before I publish it. Because I got to make sure I'm not seeing it through those red-colored eyes of I'm pissed, as opposed to is this really worth what it's going to do? Because we're all human. We're all prone to emotions. We're all prone. We're not Vulcans. We're not Spock. Okay, we are maybe live long and prosper.
Well, it's kind of funny because we're getting ready to put out demerit badges as one of our products. So like going to be little like Scoutmasters merit badges. We're going to have demerit badges. And just real quickly, I'm going to show guys something. This is actually one of them that we're going to do, and that is this keyboard warrior, and also PhD in Google. But that's the thing. I mean, it's just a lot. Too many people guarantee they're not going to say that to you to your face.
Right.
Yeah, they don't want to get punched out.
Well, that's the other thing too. If you're saying something you wouldn't have the balls to say sober in a bar
person.
To a person to their face, you probably shouldn't be saying it on the internet.
Yep.
Internet muscles are real. Well, they're not real in that people actually have muscles, but the concept of having internet muscles is a real concept.
Yeah. A lot of people have multiple pages. I don't see how people do it. I have hard enough time keeping up with my business pages and my own personal page. I don't see how people can do the whole multi alts and all that. But change my phone, loose wire. Tabletop Taproom says DC Comics just canceled a comic of a trans writer for controversy they stirred up over Kirk assassination, and that's another thing. There's been a lot of people very sad about the Kirk murder and very happy about it. And my only response to that, like I've told many people today, is, look, in the United States, if you're a true American, then you should have the right to express your politics. I may not like your politics. I may not like your political stances, but you have a right to say them, and you should have a right to say them in a way that doesn't get you a 30-06 bullet in the neck over. Political assassinations, that's shit that's supposed to happen in Russia and China and such. That's not when that happens in the United States, you're not being a hero by doing it. You're a freaking assassin murderer, and you're about as anti-American as it gets.
Yeah, it's like, if you disagree with me, I have no problem with that. I'll sit there and talk to you about it all day long, maybe argue it a little bit, but once bullets start flying because you're not winning the argument, no, that's just that just stops right there.
And Tom makes a good point here. He says the good wife calls me on my bullshit all the time, but I told God I wanted a wife as smart as me to push back on my bullshit. Be careful what you wish for. The thing is this: it's like my wife. My wife is my biggest cheerleader, but my wife can also be my biggest taskmaster. And she has no problem reining me in when I need it. And that's part of what I love about her, is because she has that respect for me to not only support me when I need it, but also to say, hey, not good. And that's the whole thing about friends too. I mean, real friends will tell you, "Hey, bad idea what you just said." You know. Oh, don't post or don't text, post, email angry. Eric has actually given me that advice over the Lanasa bullshit a year ago or whatnot. Walk away from it, Don.
Yeah.
And he's right. Walk away from it, take a deep breath, and come
Look
back
at
to
it. Look at it with eyes that aren't seeing red. Okay, that's just my biggest advice. And believe you me, 20 years as a cop, you actually learn to, if not literally, figuratively, walk away from a situation in your head so
Yep.
you don't do something that you will regret in the moment.
Yep. Yep. Perception is reality. That's a really good saying. There is an author, a female author, that talks about that, and it's how people perceive you initially is their reality of you. That's why first impressions matter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but so I don't have Facebook, TikTok, any of that. Just here, Buster, Tennessee. I love TikTok. I just do. One of the most cleanest algorithms, most cleanest ways that they track how and what you like that I've ever seen in a social media platform.
Really?
Yeah, oh, it is. It's so it's really cool. You can post using hashtags only. You don't got to put a description in it, and that really just starts pointing you in really cool directions. I love TikTok. Engine Joseph, maybe you don't have a right to an opinion. You have the right to an informed opinion. If that opinion is rationally expressed in a civil manner, yeah, be civil. And I admit, I'll call myself my own bullshit. I lost my temper today, and I'll just tell you something real quick. I lost my temper today. I said something I really shouldn't have. Eric messaged me and said, "Don, hey, you might want to relook at that. Take that off. That was uncalled for." And he was right. I was just mad over it, and I let my red eye get ahead of me and make that post. But the man down below me, as a true friend, called me out on it, and I didn't get mad at Eric. I was like, "Fuck you!
No.
Why did you sit there and say that about me?" I knew that if he's going to do that to me, he's doing it because he cares, and that's what real friends do. Eric, it is 9 o'clock. Don't you have the speakeasy, sir?
I do have a speakeasy to go. Oh my God, there's already 2 people in it. Holy crap.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
damn,
Eric,
I'm
thank
late.
you very much tonight for being here.
Thank
We
you
got
for having me.
busy chats, so you try to have a good night. Eric
I,
will be leaving us right now.
I'll be leaving these two gentlemen. We'll keep
Gentlemen.
well,
Are you sure on the gentleman part?
listen, maybe I'm assuming pronouns. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it alone. All
Eric,
right.
thank you tonight. Have a good night.
Thank
Mario Evil DM says, Tabletop Taproom, I am pretty sure your extenders cousins. Oh, he's talking about that. Zatron says, I don't agree with what they say, but I'll defend it to the death, the right to say it. Exactly. Gee, and I got a wife as smart ass as me. Yeah. Orcs know baconess, while elves are the violent dancing fae party. Fugly says, you can post anger all you want. If it make it a private post, only readable by you. Yeah, exactly. And my wife has a degree in sass, but my degree is assholey. Death Angel Shadow says, I've been saying that for decades. That's the first time I've heard anyone still say that Tina Samora. Yes. I scored a home run in the wife department. Elder Wilson says, perception is reality, even if it's not. Learn that in the industrial world, so many have failed perception roles. Yes, they have. Helicopters. Everyone most think them stink. Yes, they do. Big first step. Glenn. And then Mario Uden says, its call for definition is the USA star this one. And then John Denver's rap album is really violent and full of profanity. Yeah, right. But no, I just think that, in general, I just think that, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday, that really has really opened up a whole thing on Facebook, because I was really surprised at the way some people are really gleefully happy over it. And, I get who the guy is. He made a living off of being inflammatory. I get it. But also, I just feel sorry for his family, his wife and his kids, whose husband and dad, died because, and everyone loves free speech unless it's speech they don't like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I don't mind you saying that, you don't believe that this is a good thing or you have a stance politically or socially, but being killed over it is just, I mean, you shouldn't celebrate stuff like that. That's not cool to me. And there's a lot of people politically that I do not agree with. There's a lot of people that I do not agree with their social stances, but they have a right to have them. I have a right not to agree with them. I have a right to disagree with them. But you know, um, you know, it's like me, Steve, Eric, and Tom. We all don't agree on everything political and everything social, but we all get along. Steve, don't go to sleep right now. We still have to finish up our show.
Boring.
So,
No.
but it's after 9 o'clock, guys. We can let everybody go. It's past 9 o'clock. Steve's getting ready to fall asleep. Eric's on his thing, and Tom's internet is messing up. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. We are going to be back next week with Joe Block, the Greyhawk Grognard. We are going to be having him on the channel, which is really cool. Joe's going to be coming on here to discuss a new release he has and some other cool stuff. So we'll be definitely doing some pre-advertising on that. So you'll definitely want to be in the chat to be asking Mr. Block questions. If you got Greyhawk questions or OSR questions, that's the man you want to talk to because he is very well in-depth, knowledgeable of it. So everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. I am Don, and below me is Steve. And we will go ahead and talk to everybody later. And have fun. Roll those dice.